Welcome to Knock Your Socks Off, the podcast that aims to blow your goddamn socks off. I'm Ravi, joined by Hannah. And Hannah, what'd you think of that new intro?
It was spicy. I didn't know where you were going with it, which knocked my socks off. So I think we can cut now.
Me either. But anyway, what are you actually knocking my socks off with today?
All right, I'm knocking our socks off with. It is the NFL season has started. We are well underway. What people do in this season of time is play fantasy football. And we're going to do the KYSO version of it and not staff our team with NFL players, but staff them with nerd content. Our very own nerd fantasy football.
I don't know what I'm doing with my hands.
What I would kind of like you to do is like in this, you know how like they put the like big like red stamp of like deals.
Sure.
I want it to be like fantasy football and then like nerd. Can you do that?
Yeah, sure. I mean,
perfect.
I'm sure I can find a template for it.
Exactly. But we're gonna do fantasy football, our version of fantasy, because like you know what, the word fantasy has many ways people can explain it, and we're gonna explain it not with NFL players and supporting that organization. We're gonna do it our own way.
Love it.
Gonna go rogue. Are we ready?
Are we gonna start with the team name?
We can, because you do have to have a team name.
Sure.
So
that's how fantasy usually
like
works.
I think then we'll go through our positions and we'll go through our teams. But yeah, do you want to start with your team name? Or do you want me to start with my team name?
You should start with yours because you're as always more prepared than I am.
Great. My team name for Hannah's fantasy football team name, fantasy nerd team name.
See,
Excuse
that
me.
seems
already it's a Freudian slip.
I think that's a really good team name. Hannah's fantasy football
fantasy team. Yeah,
it
could be, but not today. Today's team name is Hulk Smash or Pass, which is brilliant, and my girlies will understand, and my nerds will understand. It's the Hulk Smash. I don't have to explain it. I'm not going to explain it. If I have to explain it to you, you're not. Everyone's welcome here, but
I don't get it.
Hulk Smash or Pass. You literally don't get it, or you're just being silly.
I don't. No.
Okay. Great.
I don't know.
Well, Hulk Smash, you get that?
Yes.
Okay, great. So then there was you weren't on the side of TikTok that was talking about Smash or Pass?
Oh. Okay.
So it was like,
Now
consistently, and especially I loved all the Smasher Passes that were all fictional characters because Smasher Pass in general is so fun. But when you then added in, you just got to walk through your favorite princes, princesses, like characters, whatever. And then it was like Smasher Pass. And then I was like, I got to come up with a team name for all of our little nerds, our little nerd content. And I was like, Hulk Smash or Pass. Anyway, what's your team name?
So I was not that creative at all because in the years past that I've done fantasy football, like the more traditional non-nerd one,
sure,
I typically let the computer program do the kind of default thing, which is, Ravi's fantasy team.
Yes, sure.
So my fantasy team is going to be called Ravi's fantasy team.
Great.
Super original.
Yes. But everybody does know whose team it is. Do you have a mascot?
Yeah, we default emoji.
Just like the gray little outline character thing?
Sure, whatever the default is on whatever platform we would have picked.
Perfect. There you go.
Not Yahoo's.
No, we don't want to do that. There's so many other ways you can do it. So
truly,
so many other places to do it
that actually work.
Yeah. All right, great. Well, Ravi's fantasy team versus Hulk Smasher Pass. Are we ready to go?
Let's go.
Let's start with how many years did you actually do fantasy football? / have you ever done a fantasy nerd lineup?
Never done a fantasy nerd lineup in all my years, which is kind of hilarious.
Okay, I know.
And actual fantasy. Football, I think of football I've done.
Or I guess there's fantasy basketball.
Yeah, I've never
fantasy
done those.
Baseball maybe. I'm sure there's fantasy hockey.
I've only ever done fantasy football.
Sure. I think, yeah.
But I've only done, I think, 3 or 4 times, and I only actually paid attention twice. And by what I mean,
did you win and you won none?
I've never won.
I've never. Yeah.
And the 2 years I pay attention, I actually set my lineup each week.
Yeah.
The other 2 I just let it auto. Just
even during a draft?
Huh?
You can do that and just set it to be like, just pick the next.
I set the entire thing to auto.
Cool.
I was like, let the internet things figure shit out.
Cool. And then even, you also had to, did it pick it automatically per week for the sake of when there was bye weeks and stuff?
After week 5 or 6, because I hadn't turned it on in the early weeks, so.
So you were just losing.
Oh,
just L's on L's on L's on L's.
Over and over again.
Got it.
Yeah. I was the worst.
That's okay. But you've never done a nerd one before.
Never done a nerd one.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I've not done a nerd fantasy lineup in this fashion. I've done for like the football team. I've done like a fantasy, like the dream team is often referred to with basketball. Mm-hmm. And so I've done basketball lineups with point guard centers. Like I've done like that with nerd lineups, which is fun, but never football. So I'm excited for this one. But I played fantasy football with my family for like at least like, I think probably 15 years. We did it from young kids. I've never, my thing is I've never put money behind it. Were you putting money behind all yours?
Yeah, I've lost a total of, I think $50.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not bad. I've heard of worse. Did you ever put like any different wagers on there where it's like the loser has to have you seen those ones where like the loser has to get a tattoo or like,
I like
winners obviously get, or like the winner gets to pick the ultimate loser's tattoo and stuff like that?
Yeah, I've never done those things, but I have seen, like, I think the most creative ones are like, you have to sit in Waffle House for like 24 hours and you can deduct time depending on how much like waffles you eat.
Oh my god.
And like there's been like a bunch of videos on YouTube especially where
of just the hazing basically.
Yeah, it's actually hazing people and like the loser will be watched by like other members. They'll do shifts and things.
Sure.
So yeah. Those ones are always funny because they feel harmless. And,
totally.
You know, I think don't do a tattoo. That's really stupid.
Well, it's just real extreme.
Yeah, and it can be expensive and
permanent. It is permanent. So
yeah.
It's a real commitment to the bit.
I wouldn't ever agree to something like that.
Yeah. Much less somebody else gets to pick your tattoo. I've seen some crazy ones that like the winners have picked a loser's tattoo and it is gnarly. Yeah. So
the worst tattoo I ever saw that was picked for somebody else was The Office. When they make Andy get a tattoo or like they do their work productivity and Andy gets a tattoo and it's the nerd dog. Oh, yes. And I was always like, that's just weird. Because it's on his butt.
You know.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah,
it's a choice.
I digress.
It's a choice. Well, here we go then. We have our fantasy history. We're going forward. Yeah. Luckily we've been nerds longer than we've played fantasy football. So we can hold it down for that.
Do we cue the epic music, the draft music?
Should we? We should with a little ticker underneath us. What kind of news should be on the ticker today? Taylor Swift was at the Chiefs game this week.
A deer is on the march from Mordor. I don't know. We just watched Rings of Power, so it's fresh on the mind.
So it's all kinds of stuff.
I'll say this, like because I'm watching Rings of Power right now, and there was some news about Marvel.
Okay.
At the time of like the taping, this like current pop culture things definitely informed my decisions.
Okay.
I'll give that.
Okay.
Thing, so.
Little caveat, little disclaimer.
Yeah.
All right.
Like if this was during like Star Wars time, probably all Star Wars, but it's not right now.
You're very influenced. You're easily influenced.
Totally. Yeah.
Great. There you go. At least you know it. You're about yourself, so it's great.
You can buy me for money and you can influence me heavily. Yeah.
TikTok shop and Instagram come for him.
Oh yeah.
See what you can get him to buy. He will do it. I can
show you what and I've already bought.
Exactly. All the things. Okay, well let's get into it. If you don't know about fantasy football lineups in general, the whole setup is going to be 2 quarterbacks, 4 running backs, 4 wide receivers, 2 tight ends, 2 defenses, and then 2 kickers. Sorry, shout out to the kickers. They're very important too. And then lastly, for the sake of ours, we get to pick 2 wild cards. So it just got to be, you put them in there, don't worry. Oh, sweet. And so we're going to go through our lineup position by position. Should we start? I think we should just do that. No, we're just gonna go position by position. Sorry. Because like when you do a draft, like you obviously, you kind of get to go back and forth and you get to like really kind of pick, but we just have picked the same thing. I don't even think we have many characters the same. So that kind of works in some fashion. But, oftentimes it's like you pick a running back, then someone picks a quarterback, then someone picks a tight end, or then it picks a wide receiver, but we're just going to go position by position. I got ahead of myself. Again, I've done this for like 15 years. And so it's like, there's so many things that are flooding back to me that even in my preparation, I'm like, I'm having all these reactions to the fantasy football things and stress. I would like study for it, dude. I would prepare. I would come with lists.
Would you listen to like
podcasts weren't a thing. Remember?
Yeah, podcasts were like fantasy podcasts weren't a thing back then.
No, honestly, I would go to the internet or
the internet,
like to the internet, like to
www.cbs.com.
There was at fantasy, like the fantasy.
So you would be reading all the articles.
Yeah, and there was always indexes. So it was like basically it was just like it wasn't for. I mean, people obviously have been betting on fantasy football and players forever, but the indexes also would like tell you kind of like total rank, and then they would give you like position ranking, all kinds of stuff. So then I would go through, because I liked football and I don't love it as much right currently, but like I would liked the game. So it was like I didn't just pick it for mascots or colors of teams or teams I liked. Like I went through and really tried to get the best team. I have won a couple times, but I wasn't
no money, so it doesn't really count.
Pride counts for pride.
Nope.
Yeah.
Money.
Then you guys be the reigning champ. I'm really trying to remember. I've been kind of trying to remember this whole time what like my classic name was.
Hannah's fantasy football team.
It wasn't at all. No, it was more clever than that. But maybe I'll probably hit me at some point, and then I'll announce it to the podcast with little to no preparation. But okay, I'm gonna let you
start with my quarterbacks.
Start with your quarterbacks.
So my quarterbacks, I went with everyone's
Robbie's fantasy
favorite villain, Sauron.
Nice.
Sauron. And then as my backup.
Easily influenced,
like I said. And then as my backup.
Okay.
Megatron.
All right, tell us.
And not Megatron, real quick, my cat.
Okay,
Megatron,
cat.
the actual Megatron.
Fun fact, his cat is named Megatron, so that's the context for that.
So I went with Sauron because he is a very self-centered individual. He is all about him. And when I really thought about it, even though we were doing fantasy characters or nerd characters, pop culture things, I still have to relate these positions to actual players. And my brain was immediately like, if someone was the Dark Lord in secret, it would be Tom Brady.
Wow.
And then therefore, 2 and 2 just kind of worked. And I was like, there you go.
Yeah.
And then I went with Megatron.
Kind of reincarnated too.
Kind of, yeah. Yeah, he's been reincarnated a couple times, kind of like Sauron was.
Yeah.
And then I went with Megatron because it would be funny. Because Megatron wants to be a leader at certain points in the animated series and comics. He does sidestep or gets kind of pushed to the side, and some other leaders push in, and then he kind of tries to backstab them because truly he wants to be like the center of attention, which is the quarterback position. So I thought that would be funny.
Nice.
So there you go.
Well, but this is maybe me showing my Transformers lack of knowledge, but Megatron is a leader? I mean, like
he is but
just not of like the good guys. You mean?
Right? Yeah, he's the bad guy.
Okay.
And also, I would like to note that I picked 2 very bad individuals for the quarterback. Again,
this is really setting up your team.
This really speaks to how I view the quarterback in football.
Ooh, tell us.
I think they're the villain of the team because
am I the drama?
Yeah, like basically, they're usually. I mean, at least the way the media portrays quarterbacks in modern day football journalism or whatever, they're just the problem people. So it just made sense to me.
But they also do tend to get the most press and the most.
But they're still bad in my mind.
All right.
Anyway, who's your quarterback?
All right, here we go. My first string quarterback is Anakin from Clone Wars.
Okay, specific version.
A very specific version. It has to be the specific version.
What season of the Clone Wars?
Specifically season 5.
Season 5, episode 3.
Excuse me, did you see when this thing happened? Yeah, specifically that. And then my second string is Gandalf.
Interesting.
Yes. For first string Anakin, one of my favorite things that I think was really well depicted in Clone Wars was Anakin's. He would tell his team to do something, but he would always like lead the charge of that. He was not a bystander, like, okay, guys, like go do this thing, boys, and then like I'll just be here. Like he was like, go do the thing, and then like follow me doing it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like there was no, you go do it while I sit here looking pretty. He was always like a true leader and captain, which are. Quarterbacks are they're not always, but they're often captains on the field. And so to me, Clone Wars Anakin was a great, leader. Yeah, exactly. And so like, and if even a Captain Rex could trust Anakin and respect him in the way that he did, then I think that he'd be a good captain on the field as a quarterback. And then Gandalf is just like, I mean, it's so a similar maybe vein with the Sauron piece, but like, you put someone with magic. you
Yeah,
know, like you
that's
put
true.
someone as a wizard or with magic
Yeah.
in that position because, again, if the quarterback is the person who essentially the ball touches every offensive play, like you want that person to be able to do cool, dope things out of thin air.
Do
that, like,
magical, do magical things.
Do magical
Yeah.
things. And it's
Pull
like, and
magic out of
Gandalf
their
was
ass.
awesome. And
Yeah.
so, you know, and in his own way had maybe multiple reincarnations. So
I really hope in Bill Belichick's retired years, and for those listening that don't know who he is the former head coach of the New England Patriots. I do hope in his like retired years he goes and he coaches like, I don't know, whatever non-professional football league. And he's like to his team one day, he's like, yo, be a Clone Wars Anakin. Don't be a Sauron. And what he's really talking about.
Don't be a Darth Vader.
Yeah, what he's really talking about is I don't know who is at this point like you would consider a good quarterback in the current league standings.
Okay.
Like, and not in terms of like stats. I'm talking just like a good human being.
Okay.
And like basically compare that good quarterback to like the Tom Brady.
Got it.
But he would say,
I see.
He would say, "Don't be be a Clone War Anakin. Don't be a Sauron."
Got it.
That's how I would hope he.
I thought you were gonna go with the version of like when I was noting Gandalf, and then you brought up Bill Belichick. I thought you were gonna go from like he was wearing all gray hoodies to like then he wears all like white hoodies or something. Where Belichick goes from like Belichick the gray to like Belichick the white.
That'd be pretty good, actually.
Actually, really funny.
That would be funny.
Like a good like just like switch up with the.
I can't wait for the. Oh my God, what's his name? The actor Kevin James. Can't wait for Kevin James to play Bill Belichick in a Netflix special where he plays Bill Belichick.
Yeah, insane.
I'd watch that.
Yeah. All right. Shall I throw it to you for your running backs?
Yes, running backs are gonna be.
We got four. So we get 4 strings for this one because oftentimes you're only gonna play 2 a week, but you gotta have enough people because these guys get beat up.
And
often.
I'm going from first string to 4th string.
Yep.
So it's gonna be Goku from Dragon Ball Z.
You seem like a Dragon Ball Z person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder what that gives that
Crazy.
away. Frodo, Sam, and then Bilbo.
Wow, really influenced.
Yes, very influenced. But
tell us.
So Goku, because he is not only the strongest Super Saiyan alive, and you need
a what?
Super Saiyan or Saiyan?
A what?
Saiyan?
No, yeah, but what is that?
Oh, what is a Saiyan?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an alien race in the Dragon Ball Z world.
Okay.
Yeah,
they're super?
They can go to Super Saiyan. They're different power levels.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So he's like base level already awesome.
Yeah.
Saiyan is already a cool thing.
Yes, his
and
race
then super
is, cool.
is like
next level, and then there's like Super Saiyan.
And he's even
2
better than
and
the
3
super?
and there
or
are other.
you said he's the strongest.
He's like one of the strongest ones, yeah,
Cool.
in that world.
All right.
And you need strength to always be a running back, and then also because of his strength and his alienness and power, he's also very fast, so he can move quickly.
Okay. Like
Yeah.
super speed, like quite literally.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, quick pause. Do you feel like you've seen speed depicted well in a superhero film yet?
No.
There's been a lot of like the speedster conversations. Like people do think Eternals had a good speedster representation.
I mean,
what do you think?
probably the X-Men First Class.
Oh, okay.
Or not First Class. Maybe First Class. I don't remember. No. The sequel to that one where you're introduced to Quicksilver. I think that sequence was pretty cool where he runs through the mansion to save everyone before it blows up. It was fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, keep going. All right, Goku.
And then, Sam or Frodo, Sam, and Bilbo. Because they
Pops.
seem like they have the energy to just keep going. Because they did go and get rings and
They
move
did
to
just
Mordor quickly.
keep going.
They
I
just
mean,
kept
kind
going.
of Finding Nemo Dory status of just keep swimming.
Just keep swimming.
They
Yeah,
just kept going.
They just kept going. So.
All the way to Mordor.
Yep. So I put the Hobbits there.
All right, cool. I like it. Do you think that you could feed them enough to sustain this as a team? I guess they're getting paid a lot of money. So
A team can has to feed their entire. Yeah, I think we'd be fine.
could. Yeah.
I don't
like
think. I think compared to the average football player, I think a Hobbit eats less still.
That's probably true.
So
Very true. Yeah. Less than like a defensive and offensive lineman.
Yeah.
You know, the hobbits could exist and persist.
I think they'd be fine.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
All right. The team Hulk Smasher Pass. Our running backs are first string is Ant-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Then second string is Lightning McQueen. Do you know that character?
The car from Cars.
Third string is Chopper. And then fourth string is Hulk.
So Chopper from Star Wars.
Chopper from Star Wars.
Rebels specifically.
Specifically.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
All right.
and then I mean, all of the first three make sense.
Yes.
The Hulk doesn't make like any sense.
Why would the Hulk not make sense?
He's a running back.
That's what I just said.
Yeah.
I just wanted to bulldoze shit through.
I guess running backs have to be good on both, like defense, offense, right? Or is that more?
Tight ends are probably
more
the more
yeah,
so kind of, but
sense.
but tight ends also have to be good like catchers, receivers.
Yeah.
I mean, running backs because there used to be like different positions where like a fullback, like the whole. Did you ever like hear about like when the fullback essentially transitioned to the running back?
No.
Because the fullback was essentially like the like almost offensive, like secondary offensive lineman to get like the running back kind of into it.
Mm-hmm.
But then they essentially, I think historically anyway, is like Jerome Bettis on the Steelers, like essentially transformed the fullback into the running back because he was like big enough to do so. So he would do the essentially bulldozing himself while holding the ball into the end zone or into like, doing a 4th down play to just go 1 yard. And then it kind of became like, oh, well, we need all of our running backs to be able to do that. Like we need one more person on, like on the actual offensive like line or whatever to where like essentially now the running back is also like way more dangerous of a position because you are doing the like big
running
run
in
throughs.
head first.
Exactly. So that's where I was like, Hulk, for the sake of my 4th string being Hulk, because also, Hulk unfortunately is a little bit unreliable at times. You kind of, you maybe you might not be able to have him in every play, but like when you need a guy who to like go in and make that 1 yard thing, you just need him to get angry and do the pushing through.
Right.
As Jason Kelsey called it, the tush push. Like you just need
tush
someone
push?
to get through. Like,
Wait, I'm sorry. Who did you just say?
Jason Kelsey.
We don't talk about them.
Oh my God. Okay.
Not since they're sell out to Amazon. I'm not jealous.
I don't want $100 million. That would be nice. Wait, was it $300 million for 3 years?
I don't remember
Anyway,
what it was.
It's a lot of money.
It was a boatload of money.
Boatload. Okay, but anyway, Ant-Man, though, to me, common sense, because you could either make him super big or super tiny. And you just give him the thing, and then he just, boop, 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 and then he's in the end zone.
He does the boop, boop.
Boop, 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 and then he's there, which is a great thing to do. It's a great move, obviously. Lightning McQueen also it's
a car bulldozing.
Bowling. Yeah, you're just bowling people down.
Wait, isn't there like a truck, though, in cars? Like, why wouldn't you pick the truck character?
The Tow-Mater?
Sure.
Tow-Mater, I needed someone with speed. As you said, we need a little bit of speed behind him. So the ka-chow all the way through.
Ka-chow. Wow, we're just using action and ka-chow.
It's sports. You communicate a lot of sounds in sports.
I'm sorry. When the NFL was like figuring out what their TV broadcast looked like, were they like competing with the old Batman Adam West show where they have the kapow and the kapoom and they're like, oh shit, we can't do that. Batman beat us to it.
Probably.
Got it.
The trademark was already trademarked, so it is what it is. And then finally Chopper, because again, you just need a little bit of pizzazz and a little bit of someone who doesn't complain about like hurting people as a running back,
I mean, it's been who did it? Somebody did like the death count or how much people Chopper has killed. And it's just like thousands.
You're
upon
like,
thousands.
It's fine. Yeah. You just need a little more.
He just runs around and he swears and he blows up spaceships.
100%. So you just need those are my my 3rd and 4th string are just like they're kind of hotheads that if you just put them in there, they'll get the job done. Kind of be damned how they do it. And so I just needed people who could functionally people/characters, creatures. Chopper's not sentient, but
how
anyway.
do you know?
Or Lightning McQueen, but they are.
Wait,
they are.
Isn't Lightning McQueen sentient?
They are. They definitely are in the Cars universe.
Don't they live in a world where people have become cars?
Well, there's no origin story of how cars came to be.
And then there's no like need for sidewalks.
We're gonna have like Cars like 25. That's like this ultimate thing of like it's been a dream the whole time, and these kids are playing with the cars, and it's
probably is. Yeah, it's probably what it is.
Probably where we're going. Yeah. All right, wide receivers.
Okay,
what you got
wide receivers. I went with 4 people that I'm now questioning. Actually, I'm only questioning one that I look at it because I'm like,
all right,
who am I referring to? Maybe you can help me.
All right,
with my list.
Yeah, sure.
I went with Gandalf.
Yeah.
Again, heavily influenced by what the hell I'm watching currently.
Yeah.
Aragorn.
You picked it.
I just picked the entire fucking like Lord of the Rings folks. So Gandalf, Aragorn, and then Carter.
Do you mean Agent Carter? I don't feel like you like Agent Carter that much. I don't think it's
Agent Carter. I don't know why I put
Who is Carter?
I have no idea. This is really like concerning because
Lil Wayne or I don't know who it is.
Carter. Oh,
who?
Colonel Carter or Captain Carter, or I think she becomes a general. But basically Samantha Carter, who's a character from Stargate SG-1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. There's some good variety you're giving us.
Yeah. No, and then also I put a Black Widow in there as well. And main reason I picked like these guys, the first two was again just solely I needed Lord of the Rings characters, I guess. But then I went with Carter and Black Widow because like Carter specifically, she's consistently just kind of there where you need her to be there and just kind of picking up everyone else's slack. Black Widow, same type of thing. Like as a spy assassin agent, she can get where she needs to go very quickly and easily, and then she's just right there. Actually, I think I went with Gandalf because magic.
Sure. Yeah.
And then I think I went with Aragorn. Yeah, and I went with Aragorn because I figured he's got like the Black Widow type qualities.
Okay. Yeah, you need like, someone agile as a receiver. You know, they gotta do some weird things.
Popping up out of nowhere.
Some of the catches, you know, on their head and stuff like that.
I thought less about catching and just more like appearing and being where you need to be.
Fair.
Because like anytime I watch a game, some commentators like they just showed up. They just showed up.
It just happened to be.
Clearly the defense wasn't paying attention.
Truly.
They just showed up.
They just showed up where they were supposed to be, where the ball magically was, and then the play happened.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Did you like Black Widow the movie? The film?
When I first saw it, no.
It's grown on you. A slow burn.
It's grown on me because everything else that's come after has not been great. Oh. So
sure.
You know, I didn't like Rogue One when it first came out, but again,
I know that was so sad.
Not everything was great after that. So,
is that what makes it better to you?
Yes.
Oh, I liked Rogue One from the jump. It took me, I would say, 2 watches of Black Widow to be like, oh, I really liked it, which probably is a tell, but
yeah,
I liked it as it went.
I liked it the more because at that point, Florence Pugh. I had not seen anything she had done before then.
Oh,
like that was
you
the
never
first
saw
time.
Midsommar?
No,
Midsommar.
That was the first thing I had ever seen of her.
Okay.
And as I've seen her in more things, I think that's helped me been like, oh, this is actually pretty decent and pretty interesting. So
sure.
And the same thing with the big guy who plays their dad. I'd only seen him in Stranger Things prior to that.
Sure.
And then I
David,
saw him,
whatever.
Yeah, Harbor.
Yeah.
And I'd seen him in more recent things. I was like, oh, man can actually act.
Oh, totally.
So,
yeah. Fair. All right. Hulk Smasher Pass, wide receivers. Starbuck from Battlestar Galactica.
Nice.
Elphaba from Wicked. Okay.
Crickets. Truly crickets.
Victor Crumb is my 3rd string from Harry Potter. And 4th string is Moana of Moana.
All makes sense except for the second one because I'm just like, it's Wicked. I don't care. And then the third one, who is Victor Crumb?
Victor Crumb is the best Quidditch player in book 4 in Goblet of Fire. And they go see him and he catches, catches the snitch. He's the seeker of I don't remember his team name. It's not Germans, but I feel like, anyway, his team is red.
He's a Quidditch player?
He's a Quidditch player, but he didn't go to Hogwarts. And so then the reason he was in book 4 in Goblet of Fire, because he was a part of Durmstrang. And so he came and then he was the like champion.
Yeah, I didn't know he was a
Goblet
Quidditch player.
Yeah, the best Quidditch player in the world.
See, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Because
I do think he was playing for Germany or something, because it was like the Irish versus somebody. So anyway.
Wait, is that where they see him play at the beginning of the movie?
Yes, they go to the Triwizard Tournament. Sorry, that's the thing. They just go to the Quidditch World Cup or whatever they call it.
Oh.
Not the most original name for
and
a
then
sports
you have all
game.
these hooligans.
Truly, unfortunately.
Which are like now at Universal Studios.
I know that whole villain narrative for that one always feels odd
Death
to me.
Eaters.
Yeah, it's a tough one. But okay, anyway, so in general, I would say the thread or theme I went with for my wide receivers were like characters and people who like are going places, if you know what I mean. Okay, number 1, Starbuck. She went a lot of places. She was a good flyer.
Yeah, she went to heaven and back.
And then she came to heaven and back. Exactly. We didn't know where she
Should we be putting spoiler like for everything?
Maybe.
Like,
you haven't seen Battlestar Galactica. Starbuck though, she's a fighter. She is kind of, again, there's a lot of I would say like in the wide receiver space, you also kind of have to be a cocky hothead in my mind, because like you kind of have to just
pilot.
like. Yeah, you do. You have to become a pilot, and Starbuck was a great pilot and also a hothead, and so like could kind of just like, again, kind of like you said, where like show up in random places, but like she could just make shit happen. Like things just kind of happen for Starbuck, and like things just kind of happen for wide receivers. So that's my space on that. Elphaba, who is the Wicked Witch of the West, who is in the upcoming film, but largely widely known popularized by the Broadway show Wicked. Elphaba she can fly in a broom. She's a witch. She has magic. So she can get places. She can go places. She's going far. I want her on my team.
What kind of name is Alphabet?
Exactly. Well, is
that like a real?
Do you know the whole
name?
story of Wicked? I'm not going to tell it all right now.
No, please don't.
Okay, but basically, it's like the villain. It's like basically, for the sake of even watching Rings of Power, where they're essentially glorifying or talking to like Sauron's rise to fame. Wicked is the Wicked Witch of the West's rise to power, if you will, or
Gotcha.
like based on the Wizard of Oz, which is like where it all comes from. Elphaba, there is notable reason or space for why Elphaba is named Elphaba and like what that means. But I don't know that 100% because the Wicked is based off a series of books. So books and then it became a stage play. Got it. Or a musical. Anyway, but I would want Elphaba on my team, a boss again. Victor Crumb, another boss on a broom. So like again, people are flying places. They're gonna go places. He's gonna get far. He's also big and burly, so he can like show up and kind of hit people down. Because I think there's obviously a lot of like small wide receivers who like are really agile and stuff, but I feel like Victor Crumb kind of has maybe more of a tight end build, but I could put him on my wide receiver team. And then finally Moana, because she is also going places. With her voice and with her spirit and her
live action movie and her sequel.
Exactly. She's going so far. She's making so much money. And I want her on my team because she will also get creative. And if she can, essentially wield water, that could be a fun new addition to the field to then, see who can manage through that. Moana. She's also my wide receiver.
Nice.
All right. Tight ends. On Robbie's fantasy team.
On the Robbie's fantasy nerd team.
Fantasy team.
I'm going to go with, for my tight ends, I put Bruce Banner.
Oh, okay.
And
this is notable.
Punisher.
Ooh, all right. Tell us.
Bruce Banner, because tight ends have to be both. They're like your dynamic player, right? Like they got to do multiple things. Bruce Banner obviously can turn into the Hulk. He's also super smart. So you
under the umbrella of Bruce Banner, you also get the Hulk.
Yes.
All right, that's fair.
Yeah, you don't get one without the other.
All right. And Punisher.
And the Punisher, because he's like an anti-hero, so he can be good and bad.
Is that a Travis Kelce reference for us with Taylor Swift?
No, truly didn't even
he
think of it that way.
That one.
Didn't think of that at all.
You're just saying a tight end's an anti-hero, and then people are going to think Travis Kelce.
Really?
I've told you this before about the anti-hero tie-in with Taylor Swift.
Because of the song,
yes.
Right? Because there's a song. Is that the one like I'm the problem?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
But she wrote that before Travis.
Exactly, but it all ties together.
Because it's part of the
lore
script.
The lore. The
script that the NFL's writing. Got it.
Exactly.
The NFL script.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on like what the purpose of like you said, like a dynamic character kind of can do. Like, is there any other takes you have on the tight end position?
No.
Okay. Well, fun fact. I asked that because the tight end is my favorite / most respected position on the field, in my opinion.
Interesting.
Because the people have to do so much. They have to play defense. I mean, they're an offensive player, so they're not playing defense, but they have to like be very like they have to essentially be a part of like the lineman for a lot of the plays, but like kind of like out in the receiver, like deeper field plays. And they do a lot of receiving. They have to be really good at that. And they're just on the field constantly. And so they have to
FedEx driver.
What do you mean?
Well, like how you're explaining it, like they're on the field.
They have to block. They have to.
I don't know.
They have to protect. They have to block, and they have to receive, and they have to deliver. Yeah. They have to run. They have to do all the things. It's true.
Sounds like the beginning ad to FedEx
like
commercial
UPS.
or something, or UPS or whatever.
You're like, we'll come to you.
Yeah.
We've relied on for us.
Well, what did you do for your tight ends?
All right,
then?
my tight ends are Legolas, whatever, and Loki. Mm-hmm. To me, both underrated. They're not the most underrated people anymore, but I think tight ends are pretty underrated. And so I think Legolas and Loki are kind of conniving, a little bit sneaky, but they'll get the job done. And they'll also just kind of in the same way of a receiver where they have to just show up and be somewhere or whatnot. But also Legolas and Loki also would have really good defense in the moment of Legolas could take some people out and Loki could just kind of with his magic or whatever you would call it from Loki.
Anti-heroes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There it is. We're back to it.
We're really classifying each position as like character traits.
We are 100%.
Which is quite interesting.
Truly. Sports is just entertainment. It's all part of the writing. All right. Who are your kickers? And then I also want to hear your take on kickers, because a kicker is an essential role, but not often
No, so for kickers, I went with the idea of like who is really good under pressure.
Oh,
because it's a lot of pressure, like a goalie in hockey,
really respect that.
Or goalie in football, or soccer.
Yes.
So for kickers, I went with Todd from Stargate Atlantis. He is a wraith. Atlantis. Oh, one of the spin-offs. Great one. Jason Momoa's like big break on television before his Game of Thrones. But there's an evil character named Todd that one of the other characters names. He's a wraith that. So wraiths basically, just so you're aware, they suck the life force out of somebody to stay alive. They're basically, and I remember this as a kid when they had like the promotions and like the behind the scenes for the show. They were basically like, wraiths are basically like Marilyn Manson looking freaks.
Sure.
Like that's how they explain them. But yeah, Todd is really good under pressure.
All right.
So that's who I picked for one of my kickers, and then my other kicker, I picked Dr. Doom. Again,
tell us. Influenced.
Influenced based on things that happened, month and a half ago. But Dr. Doom as a character, he does lose his temper on occasion. But in general, from what I've seen of him and read of him in comics and the different portrayals, he seems like he's can be cool-headed sometimes. And works under pressure.
All right, fair.
I mean, he becomes the leader of like his own nation. Like,
fair.
You can't really be a hothead.
Sure.
Never mind. I take all that back when I look at real life.
I think you actually have to be a hothead.
Never mind.
But you do have to be, you have to at least be, whether you want to call it quote unquote good under pressure, you got to be able to perform under pressure.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Whether you're doing it right or you're killing people, I guess.
Yeah.
Don't know. But I like the note of people good under pressure. The people for my team that I have on the kicker side is I put Black Widow. I mean, to me, a very talented.
Is that the only same character?
I know we did Gandalf the same too.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. And then Snape. Professor Snape, because he was put under pressure basically the entire time we know him. He's like just simmering under the pressure and like just this like boiling thing, but he's under pressure the whole time, but he does it and he survives. He plays both sides of the field, if you will.
Wait, does he survive the whole thing?
No,
he does.
It's not about survival. It's about if you can be good under pressure.
Oh,
he does not survive. Spoiler alert. Voldemort.
Oh, I forgot.
With the snake, like Nagini.
That sucks.
It was very sad. It was very, very sad in both the books and the movies, portrayed as such. Shout out to Alan Rickman for the movies. But I think Snape performed well under pressure for a very long time, and he was someone you could count on, even though it wasn't, as the reader, we thought he was different for the sake of like his motives were not good, but then his motives were on the side of Dumbledore and,
love.
Relatively just. So, there's a kicker. Let's get to our defense. What'd you got?
For defense, I went with Fat Mac from everyone's favorite show, Always Sunny.
Love.
And then I went with Danny DeVito's version of the Penguin.
Tell us more.
Very simple. Big dudes. Big and short dudes.
Yeah.
And they seem immovable.
Exactly. You shall not pass. Yeah. Quite literally.
And I know real quick, because, if you're a big fantasy person, you're like, well, with defense, you're supposed to pick like a team.
Sure. I mean, sure.
Right? Like the team's defense or whatever.
Sure.
But I like picking just like, in my weird version of this defense, like it would be an army of Fat Macs or like an army of Danny DeVito Penguins.
Yes.
Like, that would be pretty funny.
That would be pretty funny. Yeah, I like it. For Hulk Smasher Pass, I've got the T-Rex from Jurassic Park.
Good one.
It's mine. And I like your note that they get to pick an army of them. So an army of Tyrannosaurus Rexes. And then, Thanos. And then Thanos.
With or without glove?
With. If I get to pick.
With glove. Nothing can stop that.
Pretty much. Just a little, he could just pick who he wants to just get off the field. And we gotta, they say offense wins games, defense wins championships. So if you want to win championships, get Thanos with the glove on your team.
With the glove.
All right, then we got 2 wild cards, which is not common to fantasy football or whatever, but I thought let's just throw in 2 wild cards. Who are your wild cards to just see who can fuck shit up on the Ravi's fantasy team? Who you got?
The first one is my cat.
who is now the namesake of Megatron.
Yep.
As we spoke earlier. Your cat, yes.
My cat.
Okay, great.
And then the other one would be Deadpool.
What are the purposes of these wild cards for you?
A cat would just be hilarious.
Oh, sure.
It's just comedy, say.
100%.
And then that comedy could lead into a victory somehow.
Oh, sure.
And then Deadpool, same
somehow,
thing.
somehow, just
Comedy, somehow.
a comedy.
Robbie's fantasy team won.
Nice.
Yeah, there you go.
I like that.
That's how that works.
I like it. Perfect. The Hulk Smasher Pass wild cards are Charlie Kelly from Always Sunny, who likes to consider himself already. He's very self-proclaimed the wild card of the group, and so he somewhat gets stuff done, but he also just messes up things. So if he could mess up the other team, if our team can be prepared for our wild card of Charlie Kelly, then I was kept calling myself almost like thinking, I was like, is it Charlie Day or Charlie Kelly? Like in my brain, Charlie Kelly, then we could just have them get messed up based on Charlie's chaos and chaotic nature and singing and writing songs while on coke and all the things, which is fun. And then finally would be Trixie Mattel, because
as a wild card,
as a wild card, because I think you get out there, you just distract all the boys, and then you get to play your game.
That's
Trixie
true.
Mattel, she'd come out there, she would do her thing. Everyone would be like, "What's happening?
Could you run
Who's
in
that little
heels
hottie in this
on
over
a
here?"
field?
Could you run heels? Yeah.
You don't think that
Not
the back heel
stilettos.
would dig into the grass or turf and
It could just aerate it.
Maybe.
No, but I mean, then you that's why you wear thicker heels or wedges and all that stuff. So
gotcha.
You don't only wear stilettos. Yeah, if you were wearing stilettos, you would just fall further into the grass as you go. But
that's true.
Because I mean, we didn't talk about cheerleaders or anything on here, but I was like, if I could get a good fun distraction with Trixie Mattel, get up there, do a little stand up, do a little dance number, all the boys would be looking, and then
you just run it in.
Get that touchdown over and over again.
Who would my cheerleaders be?
You get an army of cheerleaders. Who do you pick?
Probably, what I'd pick? Easy, hands down. An army of those Pikachus. You see those costume Pikachus?
Like the big
and they
blow
do
up ones?
Yeah. And or they're not blow up ones. They're actual things that people wear, obviously. But
they don't blow up?
They don't blow up. No.
Are you sure they're not filled with air?
Correct.
Oh, okay,
Trust me, I've looked into this.
I know the physics.
I know what the cost is, and I'm just waiting for the wrong time.
In my life. Just impulsiveness enough to get it. Yeah.
But
an army of them.
an army of those. 'Cause I don't know if you've ever seen the Pokemon parades or the Pikachu parades they do in Japan.
Sure.
And you've got 50 of these fucking things.
Yeah.
And they're all synced up, and
100%.
it's mesmerizing.
I'm just I will watch this for
I
hours.
can watch this forever.
All the
Shit
time.
is wild. So that's what I do with my cheerleading squad.
I think I would have my cheerleading squad be John Williams conducting an orchestra.
Oh.
That was off the cuff. That was brilliant. Wouldn't that be lovely?
I mean, for me personally, unless it's a Nine Inch Nails concert where visually it's super interesting. I mean, I've been lucky enough to see John Williams perform in person 4 rows away, and it is impressive. But it is just people playing instruments, and that, I don't know. For me, it doesn't captivate me enough to stop me from doing other things.
Well, sorry that we don't all get to be you and be bored with incredible things on the planet. But I'm pretty sure. But a cheerleader's role is to motivate and
that's true
and hype people up. And if one of the things whenever I'm watching any of these pieces of content or whenever I get to see my characters that I love, be in a movie or film or TV show, I always note the score. When there's a good score, it is elevating the moment.
That's fair.
So I'm saying you get a good score in there. It'll motivate me to score for my team, for Hulk Smasher Pass to win the motherfucking game.
The motherfucking game. I still like the army of Pikachus. I think that'd be fun.
That would be.
I would win the game for Pikachu.
Just for Pikachu, in
for
honor of
the army of Pikachus.
Truly. Okay, well, those are our teams. If you have any fun, feedback for us and or your own, staffing, if you will, of your own fantasy team, feel free to let us know.
Staff.
That's what it is.
Yeah, please let us know about the staffing needs.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about coaches or anything, but we're just going. We're the coaches. I guess.
Who
we
are
the coaches?
Well, okay, but let's say you have this hypothetical team. Who's coaching this team?
Ooh.
What psycho is
truly
has the chops to make this a team?
I mean, for some reason, and I don't know if it's because we were talking about Starbuck, but not Leodama. Nope, not Adama.
Admiral Adama.
Admiral Adama, yeah. What was his first name?
Admiral.
Right. You're right. Yeah.
Father.
Anyway. And then when you kept saying Admiral, I kept thinking Admiral Akbar. Like, no, not him though. But yeah, Admiral Dama.
I'm going to make it too real, maybe for comfort. I think Obama. And in 2 reasons. He has led the country. He did it for 2 terms.
All right.
So he's got like this political savviness to him. But then also like in the behind the scenes and post presidential career, like he's got the swagger to get like the respect, I think, of most, if not everybody. Like I think if you sit down with him one-on-one or even like listen to him or whatever, like I feel like he could win you over.
All right, great.
You know, like I think on my team, the trouble he'd run into is probably my cat.
Sure. More than Sauron or...
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just glad you didn't pick Palpatine, you know? I'm just glad that I'm glad that you just didn't pick the most ultimate, you know...
Evil.
Exactly. Ruler of all the things, but...
Somehow Palpatine coached.
Returned. Exactly, coached. Oh, but yeah, I think I would have Adama.
That's pretty good.
That'd be my coach, yeah.
I like how your team is mostly good people.
Like virtuous.
Mine is filled with villains.
Including your cat.
I feel like that says a lot about me. On that weird note, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. As always, you can find the podcast on youtube.com/KYSO podcast and on TikTok, KYSO podcast. New pods every Saturday.
Have fun. You know, watch a fun movie, watch a fun football game, if you will. And we'll see you next time.
Kaboom.
Ka-chow.
Ka-chow.
Ka-chow.